Kondosan.
Once upon a time, in a country far away, a cute little girl named Miya lived happily with her grandfather. Miya's grandfather was used to her magic. She was actually the little girl the Wicked Witch once transformed into a snow queen. Although Miya broke the witch's spell, she still had magical powers. But this time, she only used her magic to do good deeds.
Well done, Yellow Goat. You gave me lots of milk today.
One day, a visitor came to Miya. It was Gerda. She had saved her from the witch's magic.
Hi, Miya. I came to see you. How are you?
Gerda, I'm so happy to see you.
What a cute dog.
This is our dear friend, Poppy. Come on, let me introduce you to my grandfather.
Miya introduced Gerda and shared how she had broken the witch's spell with her help. But there was someone who was watching them from afar.
Here is the girl who broke my spell and restored the wicked Snow Queen. She went to visit her now.
Cow! Cow! You should punish her!
Of course, I will punish her. Nobody can destroy my wickedness.
What will you do?
She took my Snow Queen. I'll turn her into a Snow Queen.
Amazing idea! I'm hungry! Give me some food!
I don't have time now. I have to make a magic potion right away.
So the witch set out to prepare potions to turn Gerda into a snow queen.
Cow! I'm telling you, I'm hungry! Give me food, witch!
Get out! I'm busy.
You'll see, wicked witch! I know what I'm going to do to you!
The crow got angry at the witch and flew away. Meanwhile, Miya was busy seeing off her friend Gerda.
It was nice seeing you again, Gerda. Will you come again?
Likewise, Miya. We had a great time. You too can come to visit whenever you want. Goodbye.
Gerda was happily walking down the forest path on her way back. Suddenly, a giant eagle with huge wings swooped down on Gerda. Gerda was shouting in fear.
Let me go. Where are you taking me? Help!
Here you are. I got you.
Who are you? What have I done to you?
You broke my Snow Queen spell and brought her back to herself. Now you'll pay for it.
No! Let me go, please!
Let you go? Forget it.
The witch locked Gerda in a room inside the castle.
What are you going to do to me?
You will be my new Snow Queen. Don't be afraid, little girl.
Meanwhile, the tattletale crow came to Miya's house. The crow landed on a branch and called out to Miya.
Hey, little girl! The evil witch kidnapped your friend Gerda. She will make her the new Snow Queen.
Oh no! I must save her!
I agree. Hurry!
I know you. You are the witch's crow. Why are you helping us?
The wicked witch didn't give me any food. She hurled the glass at my head.
Thanks for helping us. You can eat the chicken's corn if you want.
This is awesome!
Miya told her grandfather that she had to save Gerda from the witch. With a magic spell, a horse-drawn carriage with 2 beautiful horses appeared at the door, and she immediately left. Meanwhile, Witch was preparing the potion for Gerda.
No need to be afraid. You are my guest tonight. I prepared this beautiful fruit syrup for you. Drink it.
Mia's carriage stopped in front of the castle. When Miya walked to the castle door, 2 guards stood in front of her. Miya got rid of the guards with her magic and entered the castle. Gerda, afraid of the witch, was about to drink the potion.
Come on, drink it. I will turn you into the evil Snow Queen.
Gerda, stop! Don't drink!
Miya!
Where did you come from? You'll see now.
Let's get out!
They're escaping! They're escaping! Wake up!
Oh, my head. Where are they?
When the witch regained consciousness, she ran to the window and saw Miya and Gerda speeding away from the castle in a carriage. She was so angry.
I tried waking you, but you didn't wake up! I'm hungry! Come on! Give me some food!
Get out, dumb bird.
So Miya saved her friend Gerda from the evil witch and brought her home. They got out of the carriage and said goodbye.
The witch almost turned me into the wicked Snow Queen. Thanks for saving me. How did you beat the witch?
Don't worry, you're safe now. Remember, you saved me too. We are good friends.
Yes, we are.
Friends help each other, right?
Kondo-san!
Once upon a time, there lived a rich merchant. He was so rich that he didn't even know how much money he had. This merchant had 3 daughters. 2 of them were selfish, lazy, and unkind, but the 3rd one was incredibly polite, generous, and loving. With her flowing brown hair and big green eyes, she was both beautiful and of good character, so her father simply called her Beauty. Beauty never wanted to upset her father. Her sisters, on the other hand, only thought of money, dresses, and jewels. This is why their father loved Beauty the most. One evening, Beauty dreamed of a tall, handsome, dark-haired prince. In her dream, she was wearing a marvelous dress while dancing with the prince. At the end of their dance, the prince gifted her a rose. When she woke up, she was still smiling and dancing with the effect of her dream. Her sisters watched in shock, filled with jealousy. Days went by, and one day, Beauty's father received terrible news. A powerful storm had destroyed all of the merchant's ships. They had all sunk and he had lost all his wealth.
We've lost everything, girls. The only thing we have left is this house. I'm very sorry.
Don't be sad, Father. Nothing really matters as long as we're all together. I'm going to pray every day for you to smile again and for your luck to turn. I hope that sometime soon we will be rich again.
Not long after, they received good news that one of their ships hadn't sunk. Upon hearing this news, their father with joy headed to the port.
We're probably safe now. We're rich again. After I sell all the merchandise, what would you like me to bring you?
Beautiful dresses and shoes.
Precious jewels. My dear father, just come back to us safe and sound. I don't want anything. But if you can bring me a red rose, I'll be very happy.
The merchant bid his girls farewell and went to the port. But when he arrived, he couldn't believe his eyes. The ship was destroyed and all the merchandise had fallen into the sea and was lost. So, nothing had changed. They were still poor. Sadly, on his way back home, without realizing, he entered the forest. For some time he tried to find the road, but at this point, he and his horse were both very tired. Suddenly, he spotted a light in the distance. It was getting dark, so he hurried and headed towards the light. A magnificent palace appeared before him. It was a palace with lights all around it and a huge garden. The palace had a mysterious feel. When the merchant arrived at the garden gates, they opened spontaneously. Going through a path with lots of trees, he reached the door of the palace, which also opened spontaneously. Though the merchant didn't understand what was going on, he went inside.
Good evening. Is anyone here?
He walked past the huge living room and other rooms, asking if anyone was home. He suddenly found himself before a table full of different types of food, desserts, and fruits. Since he was very hungry, he sat down and ate until he was full. Wandering in awe around the alluring rooms of the palace, he looked for a place to sleep. He found a beautiful bedroom on the top floor.
Well, there's nothing to do now. When the owners of the palace arrive, I'll thank them for everything.
He lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The next day, when he went downstairs, this time, he saw that a beautiful large breakfast table had been set for him.
I think that luck has found me again. There's even fresh juice. But I have to go now. Even if I didn't get to meet you, thank you very much. Goodbye.
He went out to the garden, and just as he approached the gates, he saw a beautiful red rose.
I'll take this rose for my daughter as a souvenir. Beauty will love it.
He picked the rose. At the same time, he heard a noise behind him. When he turned around, there was a monster. It was a scary monster, black hairy hands, huge mouth and eyes, and sharp teeth.
I did everything to make you stay comfortable. Aren't you ashamed of picking the flower without permission?
I'm sorry, sir. My intentions weren't bad. I have 3 girls. One of them asked me to bring back a rose for her. I picked it for my daughter. Please forgive me.
So you have 3 daughters then?
Yes, sir.
Well, I will only forgive you on one condition. One of your daughters must come and stay with me willingly. If no one comes, I will punish you very badly. Here, I'm giving you my fastest horse. I expect both of you within a week. If not, you will pay the price for your insolence.
The merchant, wanting so desperately to stay alive, climbed on the horse and went straight home. He explained to his daughters everything that had happened.
Which one of you will come with me there?
I can't live with the monster. Beauty is the one to be blamed. She should go.
Yes, it's her fault that Dad encountered this monster. She should go.
Okay, Father, don't be upset. I will go willingly, and I will save you.
My beautiful girl. You're going because of me. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sad, Father. Everything will be fine.
When they arrived at the palace, everything was the same as before. A fire was burning in the fireplace, the table was full of food, and bright lights were lit everywhere. Since they were both hungry from the long journey, they sat at the table and had dinner. Not long after that, the monster headed downstairs.
Good evening, and welcome. My name is Beast. Will you stay here with me?
Yes, sir. I wanted that rose. It's not my father's fault. He only wanted to bring me a gift.
Then your father will live tomorrow, and you will stay here and be my friend.
The next day, Beauty's father left.
I'll miss you very much. Forgive me, my dear.
I'll miss you too. Please don't worry. Just take care of yourself.
Waving, she bid her father farewell from the garden gates. Days went by, but she was incredibly sad. She cried every day. One night as she was crying, "What will I do with the beast? How will I get used to this?" he appeared before her.
Good evening. How are you? Is your room comfortable? Do you need anything? Your wish is my command. By you coming here at your own will has made me incredibly happy. If only you liked me a little. Is it because I'm ugly?
Beauty always told him the truth.
I don't like you, but I've gotten used to you.
Just wait and see. One day I'll make you like me. You won't see the ugliness of my face, but you'll see the kindness of my heart. That's what's important.
They were actually becoming quite good friends. They played piano together and sang songs. They wandered around the garden and fed the birds. Beauty realized that Beast wasn't as ugly as she thought he was. In fact, she had started to like him. One night, she dreamed of her father and saw he had become really ill. The next morning...
Good morning. Last night I saw my father in my dream. He was very ill. Please let me go and visit my father for a week. I've missed him so much. Will you let me?
Okay then. Exactly 1 week. If you go over 1 week and not come back, I will die here. Don't forget that.
I promise. I'll see him and come right back.
Then, let's put this magical heart-shaped medallion on your neck.
If you make a wish while holding it tightly, it will come true.
They parted in this way.
I want to go to my father.
She arrived at her father's house. Her father was so pleased to see her that he started feeling better almost immediately.
I missed you so much, Beauty.
I miss you too, Father.
Her sisters didn't understand what just happened and how she just suddenly arrived. They were still jealous of Beauty. Beauty told her father everything. That she was now happy and that he shouldn't be sad anymore. She stayed a week at her father's house without realizing how time passed by. One day, she saw Beast in her dream lying on the floor. Thinking that he had died, she became incredibly frightened. It dawned on her that she was late by 1 day. She felt guilty because she hadn't kept her promise.
He told me that if I stayed over a week that he would die. What selfishness this is. If something happened to him because of me, I will never be able to forgive myself.
She immediately bid her father and sisters farewell, took the medallion in her hand, holding it tightly, kissed it and made her wish. She found herself in Beast's palace. Beast was on the floor with his eyes closed. Helpless, Beauty had no idea what to do.
I shouldn't have left you alone. Please forgive me.
Beauty, thinking that she had lost Beast, kept on crying. Suddenly, Beast opened his eyes.
I finally realized how much I love you.
Can you really love someone as ugly as me?
Of course. I will never part with you again.
Then will you marry me?
Yes, yes.
Suddenly, with a blinding light, Beast's face started to change. A handsome prince took his place. He was tall with thick dark hair.
Oh, you're the prince that I was dancing with in my dream.
Yes. An evil witch turned me into the beast. The only way for the spell to be broken was if a girl accepted my hand and married despite my ugliness. Thank you for saving me, Beauty.
Not long after that, the prince and Beauty got married. They brought her merchant father and her sisters to the palace as well. They lived happily ever after. This was a victory of inner beauty. Once upon a time, in a very beautiful country, there lived a kind king and queen that everyone loved. Their only wish was to have a daughter. One day, their wish came true, and their daughter came into the world. They organized a feast to celebrate the event. All the kings and queens of other kingdoms, all the townspeople, and the 12 fairies of the country were invited. As part of the celebration, everyone presented their gift to the newborn princess. When it was the fairies' turn, each of them made a wish using their magical wands. There were exactly 12 fairies.
May life bring you everlasting happiness.
Let your beauty be spoken of all across the lands.
Let this princess be a very clever girl.
Let her always be generous to our people.
Suddenly, the entire hall started to shake. As everyone watched in awe, there was a high-pitched sound. The wicked fairy was the 13th fairy. They especially hadn't invited her to the party. Furious, the wicked fairy approached the crib and pushed aside the 12th good fairy that still hadn't made her wish.
So, I'm the only one that wasn't invited, I see. Well, even if I wasn't invited, I also have a wonderful gift for the princess. On her 16th birthday, the princess will prick her finger on a needle and die.
Staring at the wicked fairy, the king and queen begged the good fairy to do something. Please, do whatever it takes to break this curse, good fairy.
Unfortunately, my queen, I cannot remove the curse that the wicked fairy has cast, but I can at least lighten it. When the princess pricks her finger with the needle, she won't die. She will sleep for 100 years. She will only be awakened with the kiss of a prince. That's all I can do.
The king immediately prohibited the use of needles and had them removed from his kingdom. He ordered his guards to watch over the princess until she grew up. The good fairy's wishes had come true. The princess turned out to be a beautiful, well-mannered young girl. In the palace, she could only wander around the garden with the fairies. Her father always watched over her. On the day of her 16th birthday, the princess was locked up in a room to stop the curse from happening. Everyone was very anxious. If nothing happened until sunset, the curse would be lifted. The princess was bored and wanted to open the window to catch some fresh air. Outside, the weather was beautiful. As she opened the window, she saw a raven with a little box in its beak. The bird placed the box on the windowsill and flew away. It was such a beautifully decorated box that the princess couldn't resist her curiosity. She opened the box and saw a glowing diamond ring. She thought it was a birthday gift from the fairies, so she put it on her finger. But a little needle was hidden underneath the diamond. So, when the needle pricked her, the princess fell into her 100-year slumber. The bird that had brought the box to the princess was the raven of the wicked fairy. When they couldn't hear any sound from the princess's room for some time, the king became anxious and went to check on her.
My girl, you haven't said anything. Open the doors so I can see you. Be patient. There's only 2 hours left until sundown and the curse will be broken.
The king couldn't get a reply, so he unlocked the door and entered the room. To his surprise, he found his daughter lying on the floor.
My queen! Guards! Run! My princess has fallen asleep! It's a disaster! A disaster!
When they saw the ring on the princess's finger, the upset king and queen immediately realized what had happened. The wicked fairy had tricked the princess into pricking her own finger, fulfilling the curse.
Good fairy, do something, please. Either awake her or let us all sleep and awake with her. We can start our lives again when she wakes up in 100 years. How can we live without her?
To cast this spell, we have only till sunset. We have little time, but I'll do it. First, let's get the princess into a beautiful bed.
They immediately carried her to her room. They laid her in a bed covered with flowers in her most beautiful gown. The king and queen sat in their thrones. The servants waited where they stood. The birds, cats, and dogs. Everyone was ready. And the good fairy cast her most powerful spell yet.
Let everyone in the palace fall asleep along with the princess and awake with her.
With a wave of her hand, everyone in the palace fell asleep. The palace was to be known as the Palace of Sleeping Beauty from then on. As years passed, the palace was covered with thorns and vines. No one could enter anymore. Many years passed. One day, as the prince was wandering around with his soldiers, he noticed the palace covered in vines.
There it is. This must be Sleeping Beauty's castle, the one my mum always told me about when I was younger. Look, it is completely covered with vines.
He took out his sword at once and started cutting down the vines. He fought his way through and made it to the door of the castle. When he entered, he was speechless by what he saw. The king and queen in their thrones and the people of the palace all sleeping in some place. They were all lying still. He started wandering through all the rooms of the palace, trying to find the princess.
I'm going to find you, beautiful princess. I'll save you. I will lift the curse.
The prince was frantic, running around trying to find the princess's room. Finally, he came across a magnificent door in the tower. He opened it slowly and found the incredibly beautiful princess asleep on a bed of flowers.
My goodness, how beautiful she is. It's as if she fell asleep yesterday. Her flowers still smell wonderful.
The prince couldn't bear to see the princess sleeping like an angel, so he gave her a kiss on the cheek. At that moment, the princess woke up. When she saw the handsome prince standing before her, she asked,
What happened? Am I still dreaming?
No, my princess, you aren't dreaming any longer. The curse has been broken. Please, give me your hand. Let me help you get up from this bed.
The princess gave her hand to the prince and got up. When the curse was broken, everyone woke up from their sleep. The king, queen, servants, cats, dogs, and flowers in the garden all came to life again. There was nothing left of the vines and thorns. The king and queen ran to their daughter's room in excitement.
Good heavens, what a beautiful day! I'm so happy. My daughter and the whole palace have awoken from their sleep.
They hugged joyfully. The prince promptly kneeled before the king.
My king, I would like to marry your daughter. With your permission, may I ask for her hand in marriage?
My dear prince, we are so very happy. I would be honored if you were my groom.
My dear princess, I've waited for this moment my whole life. Will you marry me?
Yes! You are the prince I have seen in my dreams.
They invited all the fairies and got married with a magnificent wedding. They lived happily ever after. And what happened to the wicked fairy? After she found out what was going to happen to her, she escaped to a faraway land. Once upon a time, there lived a family who had a daughter named Cinderella. They were a very happy family. However, once their kind-hearted mother suddenly passed away, their happiness came to an end. Cinderella's father married another woman soon after. The woman had 2 spoiled and spiteful daughters. They were just as unkind as their mother. They all came to live in the house. Cinderella now had 2 stepsisters and a stepmother. Everyone loved Cinderella, who was incredibly kind and beautiful. She had long blonde hair, ocean blue-coloured eyes, and delicate feet and hands. She was a girl who enjoyed helping everyone around her, cooked delicious meals, loved plants, and protected animals. Out of jealousy, the stepsisters made sure to make Cinderella's life miserable. They made her do all the housework and used her as the housemaid. Her only friend was a tabby cat. When she finished her chores, she would take her cat on her lap, sit by the fireplace, and tell him about her misfortune. She always told him how much she missed her mother. That's why Cinderella was nicknamed Cindercat. Unfortunately, soon after, her father died too. The stepsisters and stepmother gave Cinderella a room in the attic.
You can't stay on the same floor as us. You're better suited up there. Please, let me and my cat get warmed up by the fireplace.
Only after we go to bed. The ashes of the fireplace should be enough for you. Your clothes are ripped and torn. We don't want to see you around.
Poor Cinderella accepted her fate. Every night she would sit next to the fireplace and try to warm herself with the cinders left in it. One day, a soldier stopped by their home to invite all girls who were of age to marry to a ball at the palace.
Our king is to leave his throne to his son. The only condition is for him to marry a suitable girl. How many girls are there in this house who are of age?
Joyously, the mother presented her own 2 daughters.
I have 2 beautiful girls.
Then who is that girl that I see in the kitchen wiping the floors?
She's our housemaid. How could we bring her to the palace?
It doesn't matter. I must write her name down as well.
Even if you write her name down, it won't matter. She has no clothes or shoes to wear. Go ahead, write it down.
Cinderella begged her stepmother.
Please, give me one of my sister's dresses, so I can come too.
No, you will not go. You will clean the floors until we come back. Do you think the prince will choose you over my daughters, the Cinder Cat?
The 3 of them mocked Cinderella and chased her away. Finally, the day of the ball arrived.
Ooh!
All dressed up, they went to the ball and left Cinderella behind. Cinderella cried hopelessly. Right at that moment, a glowing fairy appeared before Cinderella.
Don't worry, I'll get you to the ball.
Who are you?
I'm the good fairy who helps kind-hearted girls. Your mother has sent me here to help you. She is watching over you from above. Let's get to it. Find me a large pumpkin and 6 mice.
Cinderella did what the fairy asked of her right away. She brought the pumpkin, and the mice in her room, who were already her friends, came running to help. With the wand in her hand, the fairy turned the pumpkin into a fantastic carriage. 4 mice into white horses, 1 mouse into a coachman, and 1 into a footman. Finally, it was Cinderella's turn. The fairy touched her head with her wand and turned her into a wonderful princess.
Remember, don't stay past midnight. The spell will break after 12 o'clock. You must leave the ball before 12. Good luck.
Cinderella got in the carriage and went straight to the palace. As soon as she entered the ballroom, everyone stared at her and held their breath. They were curious to learn who she was. She must be a princess from another country. They asked themselves who else would arrive in such a magnificent carriage and wear exquisite jewels. The prince, who saw Cinderella, came up to her immediately.
My lady, will you dance with me?
With pleasure, His Royal Highness.
It was love at first sight. The prince danced with Cinderella all night. The king and queen also really liked Cinderella. This girl would suit us and our palace as well. She's noble and beautiful. We have found our bride. All the other girls at the ball, including the stepmother and stepsisters, were huffing and puffing with jealousy.
Where do you come from? Where do you live? What's your name?
Time passed by really quickly. Cinderella, who saw that it was almost 12 o'clock, left the prince unexpectedly and ran out of the palace. As she hurried down the palace stairs, she lost one of her glass shoes. But because she was in such a hurry, she left it behind, got in the carriage, and went home. At exactly midnight, everything turned into what it was before. The prince, who had run after Cinderella, was in complete shock. He hadn't been able to catch up to her, but he found her glass shoe on the stairs. When Cinderella came home, she was surprised at what she saw. The house was sparkling clean. There was even a hot soup brewing on the stove. The fairy had sorted this out too. When Cinderella went to her room, she was very sad.
But what now? I'll never be able to see the prince again.
Don't worry. Everything will be okay.
Meanwhile, the prince thought only about the beautiful girl who had run away from the ball.
I must find her. I will take no other as my queen. Tomorrow we will try this shoe on every girl's foot that attended the ball last night and across the city. If the shoe fits someone, then that girl will be my queen.
The next day, soldiers walked door to door and asked all the girls who had attended the ball to try on the glass shoe. Everyone wore the shoe with excitement, but it didn't fit anyone. Finally, it was time for Cinderella's home. Everyone was incredibly excited. The stepsisters spent hours massaging and creaming their feet in order to shorten them. And they locked Cinderella in the attic. Yet, the shoe didn't fit either of the sisters' feet.
Come on.
Just as the soldiers were about to leave, they heard a sound from upstairs. Cinderella had managed to catch their attention by knocking down a cupboard.
What's that sound? Who's upstairs?
The house cat. There's no one.
No cat can make such a noise. Don't lie. Let's go upstairs and have a look.
Immediately.
They got Cinderella out of the locked room and asked her to try on the glass shoe. The shoe fit perfectly. Cinderella showed them the other pair. The soldiers knew that they had found the princess and ran to the palace to deliver the good news. The prince joyously arrived at Cinderella's house and recognized her right away.
Will you marry me and be my princess?
Having received the answer as yes, he took her to the palace. Cinderella told him about everything that had happened to her.
Everything was fine.
They got married with a wedding lasting 40 days and 40 nights. The first thing Cinderella did was to have her tabby cat brought to the palace. They lived happily ever after, and the good fairy looked over them at all times.